Hi, I'm going to show you how to emboss aluminum. The back is folded under, and here's the front. Now go slowly with this. This is the aluminum I use. I'll put a link in the description below. This is an orange stick. There's a pointed side and a flat side. You're going to start with the pointed side. Make a simple image. I like to use a heart. Flip it over to the back, and you're going to color inside if you want the emboss to stick out. And then you're going around the outside of the original line, not on the original line, just on the outside. You're not bending the metal as much as you're stretching it. So here we are reinforcing the original line. Okay, so you flip from front to back and back to front, reinforcing and making new lines. Here we're going around that new line to make another ridge. Again, you are stretching the metal, so don't press. You need to press hard enough to make an indentation, but not so hard that you're going to make a hole. Reinforcing my original lines. Oh, see, I went too fast there. Went over the original line. Now it's not going to look quite the way I want it to. I'm trying to fix it on the back. Okay, now I'm going to go to my original embossing because I like it better. I'm just going to cut it out because I don't really like the square shape for the purpose that I'm going to use it for. Keep in mind, the edges, when you cut it out, the edges are going to be sharp. That will cut you if you're not careful. Now I'm just going to roll over the edge in the back so that you don't have to worry about getting cut. But be careful doing this. Gently using the flat side of the orange stick to roll over the edge so it won't cut anybody. Make sure you smooth it out well. You want it nice and flat on the back. Take your time with this. Remember, I sped up this entire video so I could get everything in. Just snipping around the rounded parts, make it easier to put down, to roll up, so that you don't need to worry about getting cut. You want the edges nice and smooth. When you cut it like that, it tends to be lumpy on the front. So you want to make sure you press that down really well and make it as even as possible. Here I decided to go ahead and clip the rest of it just because it made it so much easier. But you can see I made a little mistake there. The edge wasn't smooth, so I had to fix it. Go. And the last one. Here I'm just reinforcing the front, reinforcing that line on the front. Off camera, you'll see I put some rub and buff around the edges and around one of the raised parts, so the inside raised part. I like the way it looks. This is an envelope I made with Joy de Fee. I put the link in the description on how to make the envelope. Watercolors are generally my go-to. Watercolors and gouache. thought the brown would look good with the gold on the heart. And I just simply like purple. There we go, a quick dry. There's the front of the envelope. I've got these plastic buttons I thought I would use. I thought they were cute. I'm not very good at this part, at decorating, so it's going to take me a little while to figure out what I want to do. Trying to decide. I want to use an odd number of buttons because odd numbers of elements look better than even numbers of elements. Here I'm using E6000 because the heart is aluminum. E6000 just works better. You don't need too much. You don't want it sticking out the front or anything. And E6000 takes about 15 minutes to set up and 24 hours to cure. I think I finally have my design. There we go. Now for the next one. This is also an envelope I made out of packing material from an Amazon box. I'm using skeletonized leaves left over from another project. I really like using these. They're quite beautiful and they're quite delicate. The glue I'm using is a mixture of glossy Liquitex medium and glossy golden medium. It's the same mixture, about 50-50. It's the same mixture I use when I make my fabric beads. Works really well for this. Really sets out the. Here I'm feeling for the veins on the veins are on the back of the leaf, and so I want to put my glue on the back of the leaf, even though the glue does seep through. It still works quite well. I like the veins on the back. You can do it any way you want, though. Here's some more skeletonized leaves. There we go. I'm just putting these smaller leaves on randomly because I think that they look better when they're all scattered around. And now I'm going to cover the whole envelope with that glossy mixture. It strengthens, the paper's not very strong, it strengthens the paper and gives it a nice glossy look. I'm just going to do it here on the back. I'm not going to do it on the front. I'm going to do something else on the front. And now for something completely different. This is a part of an old cereal box. I'm going to cut off the rolled up edge there. I don't need that. I'm just making random sizes. I'm not measuring. I'm just cutting it up into different sizes for tags. These are kind of big, but that's okay. Sometimes I have big things to put them in. This is paper I made. This paper I made, it's faux leather, and I put the description in the, I put the link in the description of how to make it. And I used the brown paper from the packing, the same one I used for the envelope. It's thin, and I don't recommend using this. I won't use it again for this purpose. I'll use it for all kinds of other things, but not for this purpose, because there's little holes in it where it got crumpled and wet. So it's best to use a paper bag or craft paper for this. You gotta make sure you get the edges really well. Notice I put the colored side down. I figured that would work better. Whoops, I'm making a mistake here, but that's okay. It comes out all right in the end. I'm using matte gel medium, and you want to use plenty of it because there's a lot of wrinkles and ups and downs in the paper, so you want to get a good adhesion. Again, concentrate on those edges. There we go. Now you need to let it dry thoroughly, not just part way, but thoroughly. Okay, here we are after it dries. This is a sanding block. It's 180 grit, but any grit will work. This just makes the life much easier, makes the edges smooth, and it takes off the excess paper. I tried the other method on the tall one where you fold it over into the back, and I didn't like that, so I'm doing this on the rest. There, nice and neat. Now we are putting paper on the back since these are journaling cards, so they look good and they have something to write on. There, I like the way those look. Now let's do some decorating. I put a hole in that one so I'm using hemp twine. I like using hemp. It's a cool texture. Put a little bit of glue on that knot to make sure that it doesn't come out. That's Fabrifix in that little bottle. Decorate. These flowers came from a set that I bought about 10 years ago. I thought these would be an excellent way to theme the journal. You want to get those edges as well as you can. There we go. This is a Deco Art Premium gold pen. It's quite pretty when it works. It's almost out of ink. You don't need a lot, just a little bit to highlight. As you can see, it dries quite quick, very quickly. Gonna try it again, but I think this is the end of this pen. I'll have to get another one. I buy them on Amazon. That didn't work, so I'm going to use rub and buff on the edges. One of those tubes lasts for years. It just takes a tiny little bit of rub and buff to get the effect. It doesn't cost very much either, like $5 a tube. Put a little bit of decoration on this one. I really like this Aleene's Fast Grab PVA glue. It's so dry it doesn't really warp the paper if you don't use too much, and it really is fast grab. Doesn't take long to dry either. Here's some ink I thought I would try. It's a pretty color. I figured it'd go well with the brown. I use a little shell to put the ink in because the squeeze thing doesn't work well. And this is an F&W ink. I like to experiment with inks. I really like the F&W brand because they're acrylic inks and they work quite well. When it dries, it's permanent. This is just a micro brush I bought at the Gourd Festival, but you can find them on Amazon as well. Perfect for tiny little applications, especially if you're painting something really fine. Love those brushes. You can see I had a little bit of the backing paper hanging over the front. I'll probably trim that later. Have some leftover ink, so let's add some spots. Love polka dots. Again, here's that power of 3 or power of odd numbers. It just looks better with 3 than the 2. Add a little bit of a couple of little bugs. And there we go. Let's add a little bit of glitter. This is leftover from Christmas and I got it at the Dollar Tree. Considering it comes from the Dollar Tree, it's quite good quality. Now I kind of break the rule of threes here. I'm only going to use two leaves and two flowers. That's because I don't have a lot of space on this. There we go. I think it looks cute. Okay, have a good day. Be kind, be caring, and be creative.